Hi, I'm Mark Green with the Oklahoman in Washington. Driving into work today, even at the early hour when I normally commute, traffic was heavier, delays longer than usual as I neared the Potomac River Bridge. It was 9/11, and memorial services at the Pentagon meant roads were closed for the ceremony, resulting in greater congestion on the routes left open. As much as I hate traffic, and every resident of the National Capital Area pretty much organizes his or her life to avoid it, this was a good thing because people who were making their way into the city would have to think about it. The 9/11 attacks that claimed so many lives 7 years ago in Virginia, New York City, and Pennsylvania. A couple of days ago, I was at the Pentagon with a group of editorial writers, and our military guide walked us by the new memorial on the side of the building where the terrorists crashed the jetliner that bright, clear morning. The area has a park with bench-like structures representing each of the victims, not unlike the Oklahoma City bombing memorial. The guide said the Pentagon benches point in opposite directions, some toward the massive building in memory of the victims on the plane, and others away from the Pentagon in memory of those who lost their lives inside the home of America's armed forces. Inside the Pentagon, at the approximate point of impact, there's a room with a shrine that lists all the victims and a small chapel for reflection. For the living, for the rest of us who survived 9/11 and still wrestle with what it requires of us. I think it obliges acknowledgement and remembrance and resolution. Unfortunately, I think our resolve and focus has tended to be more and more inconsistent. On the anniversaries, sure, we take time to reflect on the lives lost, and some might think about how we can draw together again to be strong enough to meet the challenge to our way of life represented in the attacks. Certainly the unity we knew right after 9/11 has been scattered by disagreements over the use of force, where America should strike, whether America should go after threats before they become full-blown plots, and other issues. I think 9/11 calls us to work harder to find consensus on those things. I think we should talk about 9/11 more because I don't think the threat to America has gone away. Now, some might call that the politics of fear, suggesting that when 9/11 is brought up, it's only to produce emotional responses for political reasons. In some cases, that's probably true, but we mustn't bury 9/11 either. 9/11 commands us to reject complacency and selfishness and to sacrifice so that its lessons won't become unlearned. Call it the politics of memory, one Americans should never forget.